All right, guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button if you like daily gaming news content. We're going to start off here with probably the biggest news here for the Xbox side of things, and that is that it is now being reported that Senua Sega Hellblade 2 is going to be launching on May 21st. Now, tomorrow is a big day for Xbox fans or Xbox gamers, as it is their developer direct, which we're going to see a ton of awesome games that they've already announced. And I'm really excited to see Hellblade, really excited to see Avowed. And then the one I was not expecting to see, but now is probably the highest of my hype list, is Indiana Jones. So I think it's going to be a great show. And I feel like we are going to be walking away from that show knowing the release date for Hellblade 2, as it is slated to come out in 2024. But this is being here reported by Xputer. I believe Colt Eastwood also said it on his podcast, and here is what they are saying. The Xbox Games Showcase, which aired live back in June 2023, gave out a release window for Hellblade 2 after a substantial period of wait. But now sources close to me have revealed that the game has a set release date of May 21st, 2024. Due to the matter of the informant's anonymity, I cannot disclose the source's origin, but the information is reliable enough to be talked about ahead of time. Now, this is always the question when it comes to this leaked information, is who are the sources? But those really can never be revealed because people's jobs are on the line or people's reputation is online. That's why you don't really get sources. But this one here just makes sense. Like May 21st, 2024 makes a ton of sense for the release date of Hellblade 2. It will be that first quarter big Xbox game, as they are planning to release a game in every single quarter. So I will be actually more surprised if this doesn't come true tomorrow, if this isn't the release date, rather than less surprised. So looking forward to this. I wonder what they're going to show off. Is it going to be a deeper dive into the gameplay, not just a kind of sizzle trailer, which is what we have been seeing? Although we have seen actual gameplay footage, it's just been kind of these trailer with cool cuts to get you excited. I wonder if they're going to have the developers out there, Ninja Theory, talking about the game, showing off some of the differences from the first Hellblade to the second Hellblade, maybe giving us an example of how the combat actually works with a controller in your hand. So excited to see what they do here for Hellblade 2, and just really excited to watch the show. I should be streaming it, so just keep a look out on the channel tomorrow. I will have a stream up, or a stream before it actually goes live, so you can just make sure that I am streaming it. We'll watch it. We'll discuss it a bit after as well, and it should be a fun time. Now let's jump over here and let's talk about Final Fantasy 14 coming over to Xbox. We know it's coming in 2024. They're going to start off with an open beta before the official release. I believe they're planning that for when Dawn Trail does come out. We've already heard information here that this open beta is going to be taking place estimated in February of 2024. Well, Xbox Wire, they put out a new post today about Final Fantasy 14, and they sounded a false alarm that got a lot of people excited, including myself. They put out the Xbox Wire talking about the Final Fantasy 14 open beta, and then they said that it was available right now for you to go and download and play. I went to the Xbox store. It wasn't there. I was wondering what is going on. And then they later went ahead and clarified what the mistake was, and that there was just a mistake publishing that the game was actually available to download. So it is not available to download. If you're wondering if that was something that you'd be able to play right now, they tweet this out saying, "We incorrectly posted news this morning regarding the Final Fantasy 14 online open beta. We'll follow up with the correct date when available. We apologize for any confusion." So obviously a mistake. I still think we're going to be getting this relatively soon, in the next couple of weeks or so. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm pretty excited for this game to be coming to Xbox, something I probably would have never saw coming years ago, especially with the relationship between Xbox and Square Enix. But Phil Spencer has come in and seemingly mended that relationship to a point where an MMORPG that is huge is making its way out onto the platform, and we'll see how it runs. We'll see how it plays. I think it'll be great with the controller and great on Xbox. I've played it on PC. I grinded from level 0 to level 80, and it was a fun time. It was a fun time, especially right as the pandemic hit, where I kind of just got lost in the game itself. So excited to jump back in to this game when it does launch onto Xbox. And sticking with Final Fantasy, there have been some rumors recently. I mean, this is what January has been all about. It's just been rumors after rumors after rumors. And maybe it's because it's a slower month as it's the beginning of the year and everything's starting to get revved up slowly, starting with this direct tomorrow and then going into the rest of 2024. But the rumors aren't stopping as Jez Corden says this on the Xbox 2 podcast about Final Fantasy VII Remake, a game that people are still wondering if that is that ever coming to Xbox. Part 2 is releasing in a month from now, and part 1 still isn't on the Xbox platform. Jez Corden says, I got evidence tentatively that there are discussions about Final Fantasy VII for Xbox. So maybe that timed exclusivity is coming to an end, and Square Enix, because of that renewed relationship with Xbox, is going to be considering releasing the game on the Xbox platform. I don't see why they wouldn't do it. If there's nothing holding them back contractually, to me, it makes zero sense for them to not put it on Xbox. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is probably the most popular Final Fantasy out there. It is very, I would say, mainstream now as they have the remake. And Final Fantasy is a very well-known franchise in the West, in Japan. Everybody plays this game. It will sell and do very well on the Xbox platform. So I don't see why they wouldn't put it out there to release for Xbox when they could be tapping into millions and millions of more customers. My theory was maybe after part 3 releases, they release an entire compilation across all of the different platforms out there. But if they were just to come out and say in the summer at the Xbox showcase that you're now going to be able to actually play Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think a lot of people will be very excited for that to finally come over. And now when it comes to Towerborne, we have some information here. There has been, I guess, talks about it potentially being delayed. And Jez Corden says this on the Xbox 2 podcast, that he has heard that Towerborne has not been delayed, but believes there's more work going on with Towerborne, and the second half of the year is what he's heard as to when this game is going to be releasing. That is that side-scrolling action RPG, which I love those styles of games, so I'm very excited for this one to come out. And with Hellblade seemingly being released in May, the question is, what is going to be the first party Xbox game that comes out in the second quarter of this year? Or the Xbox Games publishing game could be considered that as well. So maybe it's going to be Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I was thinking maybe it would be Towerborne, but if Towerborne is going to be to the second half of the year, that will probably end up coming out in like August or something along those lines. So pretty excited for just the year of games Xbox has releasing, especially if we are truly starting off with Hellblade, and then we'll hopefully get some more dates and stuff for other games that they are releasing at tomorrow's event. All right, let's jump over here to something that I love to see. I think this is very cool. This may not be for everybody, but Red Art Games is another one of those limited publishing companies where they take games that are only digital or just have limited versions of them, and they put out physical copies of these games. Previously, Red Art Games is only putting out games for PlayStation and Nintendo, and now they are going to start publishing games here for Xbox, which is great to see. I mean, I still love physical media. I still love my physical games. I still buy physical games all the time. I definitely have not transferred fully over to digital. Yes, I have a large digital collection, but I still, when I can, I like having the physical version of the game itself. And yes, there is the argument when it comes to physical games that a lot of them don't have really anything on the disc. It's just the unlock key to download from the store. But there is an actual rather large list of games with, I believe, doesitplay.org. If you go to that website or that Twitter account, they list every single game that has the full versions of games or content on the disc. So you know before you pick up physical games. And games that are physical from these smaller publishers like Red Art Games are going to have the full version of the game on disc, so you'll be able to play it even if everything does go offline and you're not able to download it from the store anymore. And they are publishing Xbox games. The first one they are publishing here is the vertical arcade shmup Softstar. So if you like those styles of games, here is the actual game itself. You can see it. Just a fun looking arcade game. I actually do enjoy these shoot 'em up games, these shmup games, whatever you want to call them. I do find them fun. Now, I've never played this one, but if you are interested in picking up these more obscure, smaller titles, Red Art Games is now actually going to be publishing Xbox games, which is a great thing to see expanding out to that. All right, let's jump over here to a rather funny story, which is a dispute between Take-Two and Remedy. Has to do with Rockstar disputing Remedy's logo because of trademark, because of the use of the letter R. So this is the timeline, I guess, as to what has happened. Remedy applied for the to trademark its new logo with this stylized R here with the UK Intellectual Property Office in May of 2013. And then the logo was published in June of 2013, with Take-Two then filing an opposition in September. And this is what Take-Two is claiming. There exists a likelihood of confusion on the part of the public between Remedy's new logo and the one of Take-Two's own trademark logos. And basically, it's because they both use the letter R. So this one, we'll see how this all does play out. I mean, it's the letter R. I don't really know how you trademark the letter R, but I guess because it's both for Rockstar and Remedy, the main part of their logo, it's kind of what they are saying here may confuse people, even though it literally says Remedy under the R for Remedy's logo, and there's no writing at all for Rockstar. Everyone knows the Rockstar logo. I mean, if you've played games at any point, really since Grand Theft Auto release, you know that Rockstar logo. So we'll see what happens here. I feel like they don't really have too much of the grounds to be able to win this, but if they do, maybe Remedy's going to have to go out there and change their logo. All right, there's a couple more things I quickly do want to go over. Let's start off here, talk about Rocksteady and Suicide Squad. The game is releasing February 2nd, and we've seen a lot of reactions online to how people feel about this game. Very, very negative. There is a chance here that this may end up being essentially another one of those major games that could be dead on arrival if doesn't pick up in terms of the hype and how people feel about the game and how many people are actually going to go out and play it, because I think there's going to be a lot of negativity and negative press around this game when it does launch. It's just the feeling I am getting. And there's the reason for that is because people were expecting a different style of game. This is essentially a looter shooter game, a third person shooter game. And I don't think that's what people were hoping for when they heard that a new Suicide Squad game was coming out. And I mean, the gameplay itself, I actually think looks pretty fun. I don't really know. I haven't played too much of it. I played it way back with one of the betas that came out, but I didn't get that many hours into it or anything. And obviously it's expanded since then and they've improved the game since then. So I am interested in kind of how this game will end up, but it looks like decent fun that you could definitely have with this game with the different characters and abilities and everything like that. Well, people are wondering, why did they go ahead and make this style of game? And it's because they've been chasing this trend of games as a service, or chasing the trend of multiplayer and keeping people engaged in that single experience over playing anything else and losing their attention to another publisher or another developer. And apparently they were actually making an original multiplayer game before Suicide Squad. And this is despite the reports to the contrary. And this comes via Bloomberg, which has been covering how the Warner Brothers owned studio came to work on the upcoming DC supervillain game. So, citing sources said to be familiar with the UK studio's strategy over the last decade, it claims that after the release of Batman Arkham Knight in 2015, Rocksteady began working on Batman Arkham VR and a previously unreported multiplayer game based in an original franchise. And then they ended up eventually creating and releasing very soon Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, that's to me, like, I would have loved to see what Rocksteady would be able to do with an original IP and coming up with their own original franchise rather than playing off of this DC IP or even other studios that always have the Marvel IPs and everything like that. We're seeing a ton of licensed games coming out in this generation, and licensed games have taken a complete 180 from what they used to be back in the day. With the older generation of consoles, if it was a licensed game, you originally would just think it was going to be a crappy game because they would put out a lot of these licensed games to go along with movies and go along with popular TV shows and stuff like that. So, and they always ended up being just these kind of shovelware style of games. And that's completely changed. Now these licensed games are actually very good with big IPs. You have the Spider-Man on PlayStation. You have this coming out. You have Avatar, which released from Ubisoft, which actually is a very good game. And just all of these licensed games are actually well-made video games, which is completely different than what it used to be. But I would have loved to see what Rocksteady would have been able to do with their own original IP and their own original idea, because I think Rocksteady is a phenomenal developer that have now been pushed to make a certain style of game that may have a bad reception, and it may not fully represent how bad or how good the game actually is. But because people don't want this style of game from Rocksteady, there's probably going to be a very, very bad reception and a hard time for them when it does release. But we'll see. Maybe it comes out and people are very surprised and they do truly love this Suicide Squad game. All right, and let's talk about this because this is awesome to see. Topspin Tennis is coming back. Topspin 2K5 is happening and is being made by the Mafia studio over at 2K. So this is an awesome game. If you ever play the Topspin Tennis games, if you're a tennis fan, or even if you're not a tennis fan, they're just very, very fun. I still have my Topspin 4 game from the Xbox 360, which I would say is probably still one of the best tennis games ever made. And if you are still, especially if you're comparing it to some of these newer ones that have been coming out, Topspin 4 on the 360, it blows them all the way. So I'm excited about this. I hope it's as good as what they used to be back on the Xbox 360. They did put out a quick trailer here. You do see a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of graphics. It's just a sizzle trailer here where you don't actually get to see what you're going to be looking at and playing when this game does come out. But we don't have any more information. They just say that Topspin 2K25 is the next must-play sports game from 2K that fully immerses fans into the world of tennis, unveiled in conjunction with 2024's first Grand Slam tennis tournament, the Australian Open. You could check out the first introduction to Topspin 2K25 in the trailer. So we don't know when it's coming out, but if you are a fan of the Topspin Tennis game, look forward to this. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.